So what happens when your client realizes that AI can do in an hour what used to take you and your team a week? I've worked with hundreds of agencies and consultants and keep hearing the same question show up in private. What is my business going to look like 6 to 12 months from now? So in this video, I'm going to show you what's working right now and the one thing AI will struggle to replace. And honestly, it's the same thing that most agencies undersell. So here's the reality. If you sell deliverables, AI doesn't have to replace you in order to hurt your business. It just has to make what you sell feel cheaper. Spend any time on YouTube or Instagram right now, and you'll see what Claude has made possible via Claude Chat, Claude Cowork, and even Claude Code. Personally, we're building landing pages that required an expensive designer. We're building agents that have replaced the need for an executive assistant, repurpose our content into assets that would have required multiple designers. And we're getting thousands of views and hundreds of leads each month from these things, which is why my first point matters the most. In order to survive the AI era, we need to create signature intellectual property. Most founders, agency owners, they have real skill and years of experience, but they've never codified how they actually get their clients' results. So if I asked you, what's your process? Could you draw it on a whiteboard? Not, oh, we have a discovery session and then we do execution. I mean, like, what are the actual steps and your standards and the decisions that you make that create the result that clients pay for? That's signature IP. It ends up looking like your methodology that's documented, maybe in a visual roadmap like this. And it's teachable. And it's teachable to either a human or even now an AI agent. So simple example, McDonald's didn't win because they make the best burger. We all know that. They won because the kitchen is now a system. Ray Kroc didn't buy a burger. He bought the system, and then they layered in and named products that only they could sell down the line. So signature IP has actually two parts. So first, it's your system for getting the actual results, which needs to be repeatable and teachable. Then your named frameworks and your tools. This is your proprietary way of doing what you do, packaging and explaining that work. Now, most agencies and service providers are making great custom burgers, but nobody else can cook like the founder. And in an AI world, if it's not teachable, it's not scalable. Once it's teachable, you can finally split the work into two buckets: what requires judgment and then what's repeatable, which actually leads me to my second point. You need to be thinking about building workflows, not just hiring roles. Most business owners right now are still hiring like it's 2019. I need marketing equals hire some sort of marketer. I need fulfillment equals hire someone that can do some of my fulfillment and delivery, right? Then AI shows up and everyone asks, well, who can I replace? That is the wrong question to be asking. No role is 100% automatable, or at least in most cases, in client service businesses, it shouldn't be. A marketing person does 15 different things. Some require taste and judgment and strategy, and then some are repeatable steps that are really like task mastery, right? So stop staring at your org chart and start looking at your actual workflows. So in order to do this, what I want you to do is to map your work, like physically map out how you get your clients the results. List all the tasks that make up each of those workflows. And then I want you to tag them or label them. This requires human judgment, or this is a repeatable process. For example, the first draft of a report, an AI agent can probably do that, but deciding on what the numbers mean and what your client or team should do next because of those numbers should probably be a human. So I think the rule needs to be automate the task, not the person. You're still gonna have people in your business that do the things that only they can do. So you're not replacing people, you're redesigning how work gets done. Now here's the mistake, which brings me to point number 3, which is encoding your IP into these agents. You see, most professionals right now, they're like thinking about automating by using these generic prompts. So the output, it looks like everybody else's, right? When you take your signature method, your intellectual property, then weaponize AI with it, it's actually helping people move through your proprietary process, right? It's actually them delivering your method in a more scalable, approachable way. This is the McDonald's lesson all over again. Once they had that kitchen system documented, they didn't need the founders to be in every single kitchen, which is why they were able to open so many locations. So what we got to do is you got to give AI your frameworks, your decision criteria, your playbooks. You got to give it examples of what's good, what's bad, what maybe needs to be more specific. and then set the standards around that. When you do that, it will start to execute the way that you would, right? Now, you still have a human in the loop to make sure all of these things are being done. And this isn't just like a set it and forget it sort of thing, right? You're going to need to actually monitor and optimize these things along the way. Don't let all these gurus pretend like your whole role is going to be replaced in 15 minutes with one AI prompt. If that's the case, you weren't delivering value in the first place. So just understand that this is a build, iterate, right? As you're going through this whole process. Because if you're just using like generic AI prompts that everyone else can use, it's going to be a race to the bottom. We want to start to train our agents on our thinking, our leverage, our process. So what this looks like in practice for us is we've built what we call Alt OS. This is our curriculum inside of a dashboard that has tools that are helping our clients actually execute on the training that they are going through. So instead of having to go through a workbook and fill in a bunch of templates, they can actually talk to an agent and they can write their new lead welcome sequence in 30 minutes and have it written in their voice because it's programmed based on their signature offer, their ideal client profile. And the version 1 is 85% of the way there, if not closer, and then they can go in and refine like a human should. And when you start doing this, you're going to notice that this isn't actually just replacing your team. It's actually starting to franchise your brain, to use the McDonald's example, right? And once delivery scales through these agents, the thing that gets more valuable is the part that AI can't do, which is you being the human, which brings me to point number 4. Now, I call this splitting your business into Spotify and Coachella. I'm not sure if you're living under a rock, but Justin Bieber just made $10 million performing at Coachella as the lead. He performed over 2 weekends, which I think he only did 2 sets. So in 2 days, he made $10 million, while his entire catalog of music streams on Spotify for almost free, or whatever subscription to Spotify is now, 10, 20 bucks a month, right? So if you can listen to every Justin Bieber song that he's ever written, why go stand in a field? Because it's him. He's live, he's on stage. While it's not necessarily a room, it's limited and capped to a certain amount of people. And you get this live experience that you cannot replicate just by listening on Spotify. The same thing is happening in services. When AI can generate the course or the training, it can write the emails, it can build the funnel, the scalable digital stuff is going to get cheaper. What doesn't get cheaper is you in a room, the pattern recognition from lived experience that you can provide fast, honest feedback and judgment to your clients based on their situation. The highest paying clients I've had weren't paying for a list of deliverables. They were paying for my judgment. One client even called me his insurance policy, not because I do tasks, but because he can tap into my brain and my advisory when it matters most for him. So here's the model for this. AI-powered delivery, like the scalable stuff, is your Spotify, right? Your advisory, your in-person, these high trust engagements, those are your Coachella, right? What's dying is the stuff that's going to be in the middle, where we're trying to blend all of these things into one kind of mid-ticket retainer. I think that's where AI is going to continue to put the most pressure, which is why many experts are talking about like, don't live in the middle, live on the barbell side, like ultra scalable or ultra premium, which actually brings me to point number 5. And this is the trap that I think most people are going to fall into. And so point number 5 is really just designing from your own personal constraints, or else you're just going to become busy again, like you probably feel like you are right now. And look, I get it. Everyone says AI is going to give us our time back. I genuinely believe that. But what I'm seeing is most people take the time that AI is saving, and then they fill it with more work, more clients, more projects, trying to get more revenue. And they kind of end up exactly where they started, or they're going to, just busier. So all of the things that I just mentioned, having signature IP, leveraging agents, it means nothing if you don't build around the life that you want to build. And this is what I mean by designing from constraints. I think about Jack Butcher. He's the creative artist behind Visualize Value. A marketing constraint he gave himself was decide to only use black and white in his designs. Most people would hear that and think of that as a limitation, but it's not. It's actually a design spec. My friend James said he only wants to work 2 days a week, so he only makes himself available to clients 2 days a week. That's not a limitation. That is a design spec. That constraint allowed him to stand out and then streamline their own process and do things their own way that works for them. So for me, it's taking Fridays off and keeping my team lean, right? That decision has forced better systems and clear delivery and boundaries that I know that if I adhere to them, I will be living the life that I want. So here's your full sequence. We got to build your IP. We got to map out your workflows so that we can then encode AI into it, right? Then we got to look at our Spotify versus our Coachella, and then really make sure that we're doing all of that through the lens of deciding our lifestyle first and building around that. Or else you're just going to build the same model that everybody else is building, just a whole lot faster because AI is helping you get there. So by no means am I saying don't use Claude Code or Chat GPT. Actually, I think you should be. I think you should be learning how it's going to change the business that you've already been running for the last few years, and figure out how you can follow these 5 points and apply it so that you can build the life that you want. And if you want help implementing all of this stuff in your business based on your services, strengths, and what you already sell, then that's exactly what we do in the productized growth system. And the goal inside of there is super simple. It's turn what you already know into a clear signature intellectual property based offer, then build the workflows and weave in AI to support the delivery of it so that you can get your next offer live and sold to paying clients in the next 30, 60, or 90 days. If you want to learn more about that, the link is in the description. And if you're trying to escape the traditional agency model like I was, and you want to go deeper down that rabbit hole, then go check out this video right here. I break down how I escaped it.